Boom! Welcome to Sportsbook Betting Insight today. Pauly and Teddy Wednesday, April 12th. Big game breakdown. We'll go rapid fire with everything going on the final night of the association playoff scenarios. And the markets went crazy with some news. The guys that are sitting, we'll run all that down before we get out of here and play of the day. So stick around. Big game breakdown. It's going to be a lot of fun. Bad beats, bad bets, bad for the books. Bad bets, NBA, no Westbrook. Markets went crazy on the T-Wolves. 6-point move. Bet up from 2 to 8 at home. And I don't want to hear about how bad the supporting cast is. Oladipo played well. And the Thunder get the win on the road.
Yeah, and I mean, there was probably more line adjustment for Westbrook being out than actual money in play. You know, the line moved from 2 to 4 on the rumor, and then it got taken off the board, went back up at 6.5, and got bet up to 8. So, and while I'm not, by any stretch of the imagination, trying to sugarcoat how much money bettors lost on this game, but there was a Westbrook adjustment. It wasn't going straight from -2 to -8 all with bets. But yeah, OKC, what they have, 6 players in double digits last night. The big guys were aggressive. They killed Minnesota on the boards, plus 19 in rebounds. That's OKC's other strength besides Russell Westbrook.
Were they reacting to the fact that Romo was going to get in the game with this one? Why was there Dallas money at home against Denver?
Your guess is as good as mine. I mean, honestly, sportsbooks, when you talk about late season money, and there was a significant amount of wise guy money on the Dallas Mavericks last night against the Nuggets, and when you talk about the last couple games of the season, sportsbook can get nervous when all of a sudden there's a bunch of wise guy money in a matchup between two lottery-bound teams that think somebody knows something. Well, it turns out the Mavs bettors didn't know anything at all. Denver roused them with an 18-point win against Dallas.
Yes, bad for the books. The Hawks, this is not good. When Atlanta needed the game to clinch the 5 seed, Charlotte no-showed, 103-76, and you owe Dwight Howard an apology.
Yeah, probably. Hey, let's. Right now, the Hawks are playing good ball, man. And when you look at this Hawks team, has baffled me. I'll be the first to admit it. They look terrible. I mean, terrible for weeks on end. And all of a sudden, they wake up, and right now they look as good as any team in the East. Books got pounded on this one, 7.5 up to 8.5 for the Hawks, and a no-show for the Charlotte Hornets. And that's a real fear for sportsbooks tonight. We're going to talk about this extensively throughout the last 2 segments of this show. But sportsbooks have to be worried, and they have to price for the fact that, are the road dogs going to show up? Because Charlotte didn't show up whatsoever last night. No Hawks player even got to 26 minutes. Dwight Howard, 19 and 12, and only 24.5 minutes on the floor. Yeah, I mean, maybe a rejuvenated Howard can matter in the East. East is not loaded with quality big men.
Mets Phillies total, bad for the books continues, bet up from 8 to 9. They knew what they were doing in this one. A 14-4 final, Teddy. A full run move.
Yeah, and that's a huge move. I'm an MLB total up to the key number of 9, and that's not something you're going to see every day. But 2 factors in play here. 1, hitters wind in Philly, and bettors saw that early. And 2, it's been 2 games now that bettors have stepped in coming against Clay Buchholz, and 2 times those bettors have been rewarded. If you want to bet against Buchholz next time he pitches, I'll say this much. Get in line early.
Yep, and look at this. Oh, man, an 80-cent move in a baseball game. An 80-cent move. Indians bet up from $2.20 to $3 at home. Carrasco against Shields. Shields pitched well, but the Indians get the walk-off 2-1.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to say that Shields pitched well. He labored, okay? He threw only 51 of his 92 pitches were strikes, but I guess you can call him effectively wild. Again, like he was in his first start of the season. He's got a .69 ERA over 2 starts, and I'll tell you what, the markets will be betting against him next time. Carrasco may have Cy Young stuff, but let's make this very clear. It's going to be not just hard. It's going to be extremely hard to make money betting on the Cleveland Indians this year. The markets are in love with this team. It may be irrational exuberance, whatever. We're going to see Cleveland price -2, -250, -3. The starting pitchers are something that have attracted and will continue to attract betting attention. And that tells me, you know what? If the Indians win 99 games this year, they don't win 100, I don't know if they show a profit. I mean, that's how many games they're going to have to win. It's hard to get on Cleveland. But yesterday, at least, the books took the worst of it with that huge move on Carrasco.
And oh, by the way, the NFL the other day announced the preseason schedule. They announced what all the prime time games. You're going to have 5 prime time games with dress rehearsal week 3. Looks like Romo's first game for CBS will be August 25th or August 26th. And also, we will have an early game here on the West Coast. One game in London that was announced will be at 6:30 in the morning kickoff. That's the Dolphins and the Saints, I believe, regular season game.
This is the day to remember. Thursday, August 3rd. Mark it on your calendar. It's already marked on mine. That is the Hall of Fame game. And whatever, you don't need to worry about the Hall of Fame. I mean, the Hall of Fame was on a Thursday. It used to be on a Sunday or a Saturday. Now it's on a Thursday. But really, football starts, you can call it a week from that day. August 10th. That is week 1 of the NFL preseason. It's a Thursday night. Pauly, I expect you and I will be here rapping about the games. Mark it on your calendar. It's a coming, folks. NFL, not that far away. All we have is, what, a couple of months between here and there? We'll get there.
Yep, draft right around the corner. Up next, big game breakdown. The final night in the regular season of the association. It's coming up on Sportsbook. Betting Insight today on SBRPicks.com.
Go to SBROdds.com. Browse, compare, and shop live odds available at top online sportsbooks.
Back on Sportsbook, Betting Insight today. Time for big game breakdown. As always, live odds, sportsbookreview.com. Final night of the regular season of the association. Let's start here. What a headache for bookmakers. They hate this night. All the teams that needed to win are laying huge numbers. And then to make matters worse, teams that have nothing to play for going against those teams are sitting guys too. Look at Atlanta. Hawks have already wrapped up the 5 seed. They have nothing to play for. They go to Indiana. Pacers need the game. Took it off the board. Now it's up there. 13-point favorites.
Yeah, I mean, the first number was Pacers 7.5, and then all of a sudden someone realized, hey, wait a minute, the Hawks have clinched the 5 seed. They could, and not even they are resting starters. They could rest starters. Boom. Markets say one team's got to win, the other team doesn't. Minus 13, and you know what, Pauly? That number's probably going up.
Here's another one. The Bucks are locked into the 6th seed. Nothing to play for. Celtics win. They get the 1 seed. Home court in the East. 13.5 now, Boston.
Yeah, this line ain't going down either. We'll talk about this game a little bit more coming up because obviously of the playoff type atmosphere games, I don't know if it's going to be one for Milwaukee. It's not. The Bucks are sitting basically everyone who handles the basketball on that team. But for Boston, in theory, it's supposed to be a playoff intensity game. We'll get back to this one in a bit.
Yep. How about this is a disgrace. This is an absolute disgrace. The Nets are playing the Bulls. The Nets, these guys have 5 months to rest now. Lopez will be out. They're sitting Lynn and sitting some other guys. Lopez is sitting because of rest, it said. Bulls are 15. Come on.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like the Nets have a ton of good players. When Lopez sits, John Kilpatrick, another guy, is supposed to sit. So, we're talking about a minus 15 already on Chicago. And again, you know what the markets are going to do. The markets aren't going to go, yay, Brooklyn. It may not get worse if you like the Bulls, but don't expect it to get a whole lot better than the minus 15 that's already out there as we record early on Wednesday morning.
Wizards locked into the 4 seed rather. They'll play the 5 seed Atlanta. They have nothing to play for. I doubt Wall plays, but check his status. Heat need to win this one and get some help.
Yeah, and help is the key. But unfortunately for Miami, and really, I'm going to be so devastated if the Heat don't make the postseason because that's a team I expected to make money with down the stretch in April, like we have for the better part of the last 3 months. But when you look at what Miami's situation is, they need a minus 13 or a minus 15 favorite to lose outright at home against a team resting guys. So, the Heat aren't going to have Babbitt. They're not going to have Waiters. There's no overnight line here. I don't think Wall's going to play for the Wizards. Have every indication they're going to mail this one in. So, Miami could roll, and it may not do them any good.
How about the Spurs and the Jazz? Spurs locked into the 2. They play Memphis. Utah is tied with the Clippers. What do you think the Jazz are going to do after sitting people in Golden State?
Oh, they're not sitting people here. The talk from Quinn Snyder. Again, this is another game we're going to break down significantly a little bit later in the show. But the basic point from Quinn Snyder is my guys got to play. It's meaningful for us. And given that, 3 guys who were banged up, Hayward, Hood, Favors, all have been upgraded to probable for a Utah team that would love to get home court advantage in the first round.
Look at this. Clippers minus 16 at home against the Kings. Clippers win. They get home court in the first round as the 4 seed. They'll be at home against the Jazz. That's a big spread in that one as well, and you get Sacramento on a back-to-back. Now what for games that matter? The 1 seed in the East, Boston 52-29, Cleveland 51-30. And winning in for the Celtics, Al Horford. Quote, you have to just go out and prove what you've done. People are always going to rely on experience. Cleveland done it for so many years. I should say LeBron's done it for so many years. That's the way it is. Why would you bet against that? For us, we're not going to get caught in that. We're going to keep working as a group, getting better, and see what we can do. End quote. I like to see that. But remember, they just want to win. They're not going out there saying we got to win by 15 points in this one.
Exactly. It's not about margins for any of these teams that are quote-unquote must win. But hey, I love that Horford quote for one reason and one reason only. He used the word bet in a sentence. I love it when a player uses bet in a sentence, Pauly. It just sounds right. The Cavs do win the tiebreaker if Boston loses and Cleveland wins. Cleveland will be the number 1 seed. But if the Celtics can just get the straight-up win as double-digit chalk, the path to the championship will go through Boston, at least in the Eastern Conference.
And again, Kid said no Greek Freak, no Middleton, no Snell, no Dellavedova. So that's every guy who basically handles the ball. So tough one there, although Milwaukee did beat them with all those guys in Boston last week. Not talked about enough, though, in the MVP race is the Greek Freak. He'll become the first player in NBA history to finish the top 20, and throw this graphic up, top 20 in points, rebounds, assists, steals, and block shots. What a season for that kid. And he is awesome. We don't hear enough about him because he plays in a small market. Will any stars play in Toronto and Cleveland, Teddy?
Well, let's talk about the Celtics Bucks for just a minute, because the reason that we don't hear much about Antetokounmpo in the MVP race because no one can pronounce his freaking name. Why do we call him the Greek Freak? I call him the Greek Freak because I'm sorry. I'm a Savransky. I got a weird last name. Every time I pronounce this guy's last name, I butcher it. And of course, he's playing in Milwaukee, which is a factor. But look at that. They're sitting out Greek Freak, Middleton, Snell, and Dellavedova. That's everybody who handles the ball. I can't figure out how they're going to not have 25 turnovers in that ball game. It just has that type of a feel. Now, when it comes to Toronto, Cleveland, it really is an interesting story because we don't know what the Cavs are going to do. They mail it in, expecting a Boston win. Do they come to play? This is what we know about Dwayne Casey. Quote, we're preparing like we do the other 81. It's one of 82 games, and we've just got to win and work on our habits, offensively and defensively, and go into the weekend with some momentum. Everybody is going to play. We've got a lot of issues to work out, combos that haven't been together, different things we want to do with those combos. Whether it's 15, 20, 25 minutes, we got to get a little work in. Now, does that say we got to win tonight? No. That says we got to get some work in. We're going to try some things out. That is not a bet on quote, in my opinion, even though Casey's saying, yeah, we're preparing like it's any other game.
Yep. Thompson upgraded to probable. LeBron won't play. Check the status of Kyrie as well. Now for the 7 and the 8. Indiana 41-40. Chicago and Miami both tied at 40-41. Pacers and Bulls winning, they're in. Heat need to win, and they need one of the two to lose. I'll tell you, when you miss the playoffs by a game, Miami's got to be kicking themselves. They lost twice to Orlando, and about a week and a half ago, they lost at home to the Knicks. Come on.
Well, again, Indiana and Chicago, yes, they're double-digit favorites. They both still have to win to get in. And let's talk about the Pacers. I mean, we talked about Lance Stevenson and what a freak show Stevenson was, and all Lance Stevenson has done is completely revitalize this Indiana squad. 4-1 straight up, 5-0 against the spread since I guess we returned to the Pacers. The only loss came in double overtime at Cleveland. And it's not about stats. He doesn't have any stats. He's playing 22 minutes a game. And the key for Lance Stevenson is energy. Paul George, quote, that's who Lance is. And it's what this locker room lacked. He's all energy. It just spreads. It's a wildfire. He starts it, and the next guy gets riled up, and the next guy, and then you have guys on the court and on the bench who are just all engaged. We haven't had guys shouting and jumping, being involved in the bench, let alone in the games. He brought that to us. Pacers' power rating should reflect the impact that Lance Stevenson has had on this squad.
And the Bulls bring a different attitude than most teams fighting for the 7 or the 8 because they're 6-2 straight up against the Celtics and the Cavs. Butler and Wade not afraid of anybody. We're going to, as we mentioned earlier, it's an easy night for the Bulls with the net sitting everybody, although Rondo may not be able to go with the wrist. And the frustration for the Heat, Pacers and Bulls get the walkovers. And look at this. Eastern Conference net points per 100 possession post-break. Number 1 in the league. Miami, you throw that graphic up, 5.6.
Yeah, but what's the reward for being the best team in the... And it's not even... This is just since the All-Star break. You could probably go back and look, January 1st? January 15th? I'd be willing to bet Miami is the best team in the East that far back. It was just the first couple of months of the season they stunk. But the reward for all of that? Well, maybe they get Hassan Whiteside Defensive Player of the Year. I don't even know who's going to win that. Spoelstra's not winning Coach of the Year. Miami needs a whole lot of help to get to the postseason. I feel bad for the Heat, but that being said, I do expect them to show up and play their balls off on Wednesday night. It's what they've been doing for the better part of the last 3.5 months.
To the West, Clippers and Utah, both 50 and 31. Winner gets the first round home court. Clippers win and they're in. They own the tiebreaker. Clippers on a 10-2 straight up run. The losses by 2 and 1. Remember, one of the losses, they were up 18 with 5 minutes left against this Kings team. 6-0 current run. Last 4 by double digits. Perfect ride against the Rockets on Monday. Led by as many as 33. No starter had to go more than 29 minutes.
Yeah, and when you talk about a perfect ride, I mean, that's your dream scenario for Doc Rivers. Blow somebody out, feel confident, move on to clinching that number 4 seed, and don't burn your guys out. And look, it's kind of an extra bonus with the late season schedule for the Clippers. They've only left home once in April. They played 1 game at San Antonio, and this is only their 5th game in the month, so they're going to go into the playoffs, Pauly, as fresh as any team in the NBA. Blake Griffin, quote, "We've played with adversity throughout the whole season. We've had injuries, played without Chris Paul, and now we are playing our best." I don't disagree with that. The Clips are playing their best basketball this season. They're probably going to need that in order if they're going to get past a Utah team that's playing pretty good ball themselves.
Yeah, they caught a break Monday as Kerr pulled a lot of the Golden State players in the second half. But to win without Gordon, Favors, and Hood was big. And Hill, first game since March 27th. He'd missed 6 straight, 20 points, 5 assists, no turnovers in 18 minutes. Jazz plus 10 with him on the floor. Quinn Snyder, quote, as I bring it up, this computer here, he looked very good offensively. A little surprised to see how well he shot the ball. His shot was back. His shot looked good. I thought he rested at the defensive end. Will take the offense and the 3-point shots. How about Gobert? He's our leader on the floor. Makes the right decision with the ball in his hands. A great defender, and he knocks down shots. He's been great for us. The key tonight, Snyder needs to get as many guys on the court together as possible because all these injuries, it's affected chemistry. So we'll see what he, and like you said earlier, that all these guys are going to get some run. But you want to be on the same page going to the playoffs come the weekend.
Yeah, it's almost a similar situation with Utah as with Toronto. A lot of different guys have missed time over the back half of the campaign. And it's not necessarily about winning. It's not necessarily, well, for Utah, it is about winning, obviously, with the potential to get the number 4 seed as opposed to number 5 seed, although it's not going to be easy to get that given the Clip situation. But I'm sure Utah's going to take the floor saying, we got to win this ball game. They're not saying we got to kill this team. It's more about getting different combinations of players a little bit more comfortable on the floor together because they haven't had their normal playing time in that regard.
All right, money time. Play of the day. No action yesterday. Borussia Dortmund, that game postponed, moved back till today against coming up in the Champions League. So that we like Borussia Dortmund at home, so that's no action. And yesterday we also gave out a prop in the NFL draft over 2.5 running backs in the first round. So in any event, let's keep it going. Let's try to make it 3 in a row. Betting number 727, 728. Kings and Clippers over 211.5. This will be an open court scrimmage in this one. I expect the Clippers to blow them out. Buddy Hield, March Rookie of the Month, a chance to pad his stats here as, hey, this is it. The Kings will rest for 5 months. Their season's over. Then you're not going to see a lot of defense in this game, and 211's too low for me. We'll go over in this one. Let's keep it going. Get a little winning streak going here on Sportsbet. And we get to preview the playoffs the next 2 days. Playoffs start Saturday. We'll have all the matchups and the series prices, Teddy. A sleeper, a potential upset. It'll be fun to go over that Thursday and Friday.
Absolutely must-watch TV right here on Sportsbet. Betting Inside today from SBRPicks.com. Have a great day. We'll talk to you tomorrow.